You've got to stop looking at where you started as if it determines where you'll end up. Some people never even try because they're too focused on the hand they were dealt. They say, I wasn't born into money, or I didn't have support. But the truth is, circumstances are the setup for the fight you've got to win. Nobody's life comes without a struggle, and yours is no different. The more you blame where you come from, the more you lock yourself in place. You start telling the story so much that it becomes your identity. You're not your neighborhood. You're not your bank account. You're not the mistakes your family made. You are capable of more than your background if you're willing to move past the excuses. Excuses sound the best when you're the one making them, because they let you off the hook. They comfort you in your stagnation. They whisper, it's not your fault, you couldn't help it. And that's why so many people cling to them. They feel good in the moment. But when the day is over, nothing has changed. Some of the most successful people on this planet didn't just come from nothing, they came from worse than nothing. They came from broken homes, from prison cells, from abandonment, from abuse, and instead of holding on to those excuses, they used them as fuel. They said, if I survive that, I can handle anything. Your excuses can either be chains or fuel. They can chain you down to your past, or they can fuel you to rise above it. But you can't have it both ways. You have to decide whether you want to sit in your story or write a new one. Blaming your circumstances is like handing your future over to your past. Every time you say, I can't because, you're giving your past permission to control your present. And if your past controls your present, your future doesn't stand a chance. It doesn't matter how unfair your situation was, it matters what you do with it. Everybody has been dealt a set of problems, but not everybody uses those problems as an excuse. Some use them as a reason to fight harder, to push further, to go beyond what anyone thought possible. So the question isn't what happened to you. The question is, what are you going to do now? Because the only way to kill excuses is to stop blaming what was and start building what is. Excuses live in comfort zones. Every time you tell yourself, I'll get to it later, or I'm not ready yet, what you're really saying is, I'd rather stay comfortable than grow. But comfort zones are where dreams go to die. Nothing great was ever created by someone who chose to stay safe. Comfort feels good for a moment, but it robs you of momentum. The longer you sit still, the harder it becomes to move. You convince yourself that standing still is harmless, but in reality, you're falling behind. While you're waiting, somebody else is moving. People love to convince themselves they're waiting for the right time, but most of the time they're just afraid of being uncomfortable. Growth doesn't feel good at first. It stretches you, it breaks you out of your old habits, it demands new levels of discipline, but that's where transformation lives. When you kill the excuse that says, I need to stay safe, you open yourself up to everything that's possible. Safety doesn't change lives. Safety doesn't create opportunity. Safety doesn't lead to fulfillment. All of that is waiting outside your comfort zone. Every dream comes with a demand that you risk something. Your excuses are trying to keep you from paying the price. They tell you it's too risky, too uncertain, too scary. But think about this. If you never take the risk, you guarantee the failure. The greatest regret people carry isn't what they tried and failed at. It's what they never tried at all. Excuses disguise themselves as protection, but they're really barriers that block you from discovering your own potential. You will never find out what you're truly capable of while sitting in the safe zone. You have to step out, stumble, and sometimes even fall. That's the only way you learn, the only way you get stronger, the only way you grow. So kill the excuse that says you're not ready. You don't need to be ready, you need to be willing. Readiness comes with movement, and the moment you move, you start breaking the walls of that comfort zone. Everybody in this world wakes up with the same 24 hours. You, me, billionaires, broke people, the ones making excuses, and the ones making moves. We all get the same amount of time every single day. So when you say, I don't have time, what you're really saying is, I'm not prioritizing what I claim matters. Time doesn't run from you. It's how you use it that matters. Excuses about time are easy to make. It's easy to say you're too busy, easy to say life is overwhelming. But when you break it down, most of us spend hours scrolling through our phones, watching shows, talking about what we're going to do instead of doing it. Time doesn't disappear, it gets wasted. You don't need more hours in the day, you need more discipline in the hours you already have. Successful people aren't working with 25 or 26 hours. They've just mastered how to stop feeding excuses and start feeding execution. They've chosen to value time differently. The excuse of not having enough time is dangerous because it sounds logical. But the truth is, the people who don't have time are often the ones who spend it the fastest on things that don't matter. The moment you put purpose above comfort, you'll discover just how much time you really have. You can't buy more time, but you can waste less of it. You can cut the habits that drain you, the conversations that go nowhere, the distractions that rob your focus. Every excuse that says, "I'm too busy," is just covering up the fact that your priorities are out of order. People who win in life make time for what matters. They don't wait for time to free up, they carve it out. They treat their minutes like money, investing them in places that will grow their future. If you start treating your day that way, excuses won't have a place to live. The harsh reality is this: someone out there with the same 24 hours is making more progress than you, not because they're better, but because they're not wasting theirs. They're not letting excuses about time become their story. If you want your life to shift, you have to kill the excuse that says you don't have enough time and admit that you just haven't been managing it. And once you admit it, you can change it. You can't walk into the bank with an excuse and expect them to clear your mortgage. You can't go to the grocery store and pay with a reason why you didn't work. Excuses don't feed families, don't cover rent, don't solve problems. You can tell yourself all day long why you couldn't make it happen, but the reality is, excuses don't pay bills. It doesn't matter how good the excuse sounds in your head, it won't hold up in the real world. Your landlord doesn't care that you were tired. The power company doesn't care that you had a rough week. Life demands effort, and it rewards execution, not explanations. Some people spend so much time crafting excuses that they could have used that same energy to make progress. Excuses drain your strength, and worse, they keep you in the same cycle. They fool you into thinking you're off the hook. But the truth is, you're falling behind while somebody else is grinding. Bills don't care about your excuses. Your responsibilities don't care about your excuses. Your dreams don't care about your excuses. All they care about is whether or not you showed up, whether or not you put in the work, whether or not you gave it your best. Excuses can't put food on your task. Excuses can't open new doors. Excuses can't provide stability. Only action can do that. Only sacrifice can do that. Only pushing past how you feel can do that. When you really want something, excuses disappear. You find a way, you cut corners on comfort, you wake up earlier, you stay up later, you make it happen. The problem isn't that you can't, it's that the excuse has convinced you not to. Life will always present challenges. But those challenges aren't asking for reasons, they're asking for results. You can choose to keep explaining why you can't, or you can start proving why you can. Every time you open your mouth to give an excuse, remember this: excuses will never keep the lights on. Only action will. One of the easiest excuses to grab is, "It's too hard." People quit on their dreams because they don't like how it feels when they start pushing. But here's the truth: pain is the price you pay for progress. You can't grow without it. You can't stretch without it. You can't succeed without it. Excuses use pain as a reason to stop. They say, "This hurts too much, it's not worth it." But the truth is that pain is proof you're moving in the right direction. If you don't feel discomfort, it means you're not growing. Pain has a purpose. It builds resilience, it builds strength, it builds wisdom. Every time you face it, instead of running from it, you come out stronger than before. Excuses make you believe pain is punishment, when in reality, it's preparation. When you avoid pain, you avoid progress. The shortcut people are searching for doesn't exist. The process hurts, it always will. But the reward is on the other side of that hurt. Excuses try to protect you from pain, but in doing so, they block you from reward. You have to train your mind to embrace the discomfort, to see the soreness as growth, to see the obstacles as opportunities. That shift is how you kill excuses. Because once you see pain as a sign of progress, you stop running from it. It's easy to quit when you're tired, it's easy to slow down when you're hurting, but that's when discipline kicks in. Excuses don't survive in the presence of discipline. Excuses lose power when you push through anyway. Pain isn't something you can avoid forever. Life is going to hurt one way or another. You either hurt while staying stuck or you hurt while leveling up, but only one of those hurts leads to a better future. So the next time the excuse rises up saying, it's too hard, remind yourself that pain isn't your enemy. It's your evidence that you're on the path to something greater. One of the slickest excuses out there is, I'm just waiting for the right time. You've been saying that for months, maybe even years. The truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect time. Life will never give you an open lane without obstacles. If you're waiting for everything to line up, you'll be waiting forever. People stall to air dreams because they want certainty before they move. They want the money in place, the support in place, the confidence in place, but that's not how it works. The only way you get certainty is by taking the first step. The clarity comes with motion. Excuses love to disguise themselves as patience. They make you believe you're being wise by holding off, but what you're really doing is procrastinating your own purpose. The clock is still ticking, whether you move or not. The right time is when you decide it's time. That's it. There's no magic signal, no voice from the sky, no green light flashing. You decide, and when you decide, everything changes. Opportunity doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It passes by and looks for someone already moving. If you keep waiting, you're going to watch somebody else live the dream you were supposed to have. Because while you were saying not yet, they were saying, why not now? Waiting is an excuse, and excuses will rob you of chances that never come back. Momentum only comes when you start. You don't get energy by sitting around thinking about it. You get it by stepping into it. Even if you stumble, even if you fail, at least you're moving. Movement is where growth lives. You'll never feel fully ready. You'll never feel like conditions are perfect. But if you're breathing, if you've got a pulse, if you've got a desire burning inside you, that's enough. That's the sign you've been waiting for. Stop waiting for the right time, because the right time is right now. Excuses die the moment you take the first step forward. Fear is one of the greatest sources of excuses. It whispers in your ear, you're not qualified, you're not good enough, you're going to fail. But fear isn't truth. It's a lie designed to keep you small. Excuses are just fear dressed up in words that sound reasonable. You've probably said, I can't because I don't know enough, or I might fail and look foolish. That's not reality. That's fear controlling your mind. Fear will always exaggerate the risk and downplay your ability, and if you listen to it, you'll never move. Fear is a compass. The very thing you're scared of is often the exact thing you need to be doing. Excuses use fear as a shield, making you believe you're being cautious, when really you're just avoiding growth. Everybody who ever achieved something had to move through fear. They weren't fearless, they just refused to let fear write their story. They killed the excuses fear gave them and acted anyway. That's the only way to move forward. Fear can't stop bad things from happening. It just stops you from doing anything at all. That's why it's such a dangerous liar. It keeps you in neutral, convincing you that you're safe, when in reality, you're stuck. The only way to expose fear's lie is to act. The moment you do the thing you've been afraid of, you realize it wasn't as bad as your excuses made it out to be. The wall fear built crumbles when you face it. Every excuse rooted in fear is designed to keep you from your next level. You have to recognize it, call it what it is, and refuse to let it run your choices. You either feed fear or you feed faith. You can't feed both. Fear will always talk, but you don't have to listen. Kill the excuses it gives you, and you'll find out you're stronger than you ever realized. Making excuses takes energy. You spend mental power explaining why you can't instead of using that same strength to try. It drains you more than effort ever would. Excuses are heavy. They weigh you down, keep you tired, keep you stuck. Think about how much time you've wasted telling yourself the story of why it didn't work out. That energy could have gone into building something, into learning, into moving forward. Excuses keep you exhausted because they're a cycle of negative thinking that never ends. Action gives energy. Momentum gives energy. When you do the thing you've been avoiding, it fuels you. But excuses are like leaks in your tank. They empty you out while convincing you you're resting. Some people are tired, not because they're working too hard, but because they're excusing too much. Mental exhaustion comes from carrying around all those reasons why you haven't moved yet. Kill those reasons and you'll be surprised at how much lighter you feel. Excuses don't just steal your energy, they steal your focus. They keep your eyes on the obstacles instead of the opportunities. And whatever you focus on grows. That's why excuses multiply if you let them. Your mind is powerful, but it can only handle so much. If it's filled with excuses, it won't have space for solutions. Excuses block creativity, block ideas, block momentum. They don't protect you, they paralyze you. When you cut out the excuses, you clear space for action. You open up energy that you didn't even know you had. You start moving, and suddenly the fatigue you thought was permanent begins to fade. Excuses are energy thieves. Kill them before they drain the fuel you need to chase what's meant for you. One of the biggest excuses people make is, nobody supports me. They use the lack of applause as a reason to stay stuck. But here's the truth. You don't need anyone to validate you before you move. Your vision wasn't given to them, it was given to you. If you wait for people to clap before you take the first step, you'll be sitting for the rest of your life. Most people won't understand your dream, not because it's wrong, but because it wasn't planted in them. Stop using their silence as an excuse to quit. Excuses love to hide in rejection. They say, if they don't believe in me, maybe I shouldn't believe in myself, but that's a trap. Other people's belief is not required for your breakthrough. Some of the greatest success stories were built without support. People laughed at them, doubted them, walked away from them, but they kept moving. They clapped for themselves when nobody else would. Waiting for approval is dangerous because it shifts your power. You hand your dream over to other people's opinions, and opinions are unstable. They change, they shift, they disappoint. You can't build your life on something that's shaky. Excuses about lack of support sound good because everybody wants to feel backed up. But when you realize your strength doesn't come from approval, those excuses lose their power. You stop needing agreement and you start needing results. You don't need a crowd, you need courage. You don't need a cheerleader, you need consistency. You don't need approval, you need action. Kill the excuse that says you can't move without support. Move and watch the support show up later. When your life is over, nobody's going to remember the excuses you gave. They're not going to say, he didn't try because it was too hard, or she didn't move because she was scared. Excuses die with you, but your actions or your lack of them live on. Legacy is built by execution. Legacy is built by sacrifice, by showing up, by pushing through. Excuses can't leave anything behind. They don't feed your children. They don't inspire your community. They don't change your family line. The harsh truth is, excuses lead to regret, and regret is heavier than discipline. The pain of pushing yourself fades, but the pain of never trying stays with you for life. When you look back years from now, you'll see either a list of excuses or a list of accomplishments. Which one do you want to hand over to the next generation? Which one do you want your name attached to? Excuses might make you feel better today, but they rob your tomorrow. They delay progress. They block opportunities. They cancel dreams. Legacy doesn't wait for comfort. It's built in discomfort. Every action you take or don't take is writing a story for those who come after you. Excuses are blank pages. Actions are the chapters that inspire. Your legacy will never be built by what you explained. It will be built by what you created, what you endured, what you conquered. Excuses can't leave a mark, but resilience can. So kill the excuses, because the story of your life deserves more than a list of reasons why you didn't. We don't control everything in life. We can't control where we're born, what family we come from, or what hardships hit us, but we do control whether we make an excuse or a move. Excuses are not destiny, they're decisions. Every time you explain why you can't, you're choosing to stay the same. Every time you act, even if it's messy, you're choosing to grow. Excuses are a choice, and choices shape your life. It's easy to pretend excuses are facts, but they're not. I don't have enough time. Choice. I'm too tired. Choice. I don't know how. Choice. You may not have control over the problem, but you control whether you let it stop you. Excuses feel like protection, but really they're permission slips. Permission to stay average, permission to quit early, permission to avoid the uncomfortable. And every time you hand yourself that slip, you're deciding against your own potential. If you keep making excuses, you can't blame anyone else for where you end up, because in the end, the results you get will be the sum of the choices you made. Excuses add up, and so do actions. Life is about decisions, not conditions, not explanations. Decisions. Excuses are the easy way out, but they're also the dead end. Choices to act are harder, but they're the path forward. You have to own the fact that excuses don't happen to you, they happen through you. And if you're the one making them, you're the one who can kill them. Every excuse you eliminate is a step toward freedom. Every action you choose is a step toward progress. One of the most dangerous excuses is living as a victim, saying, life's unfair, people wronged me, I can't move forward because of what happened to me. And yes, life is unfair. Yes, people will hurt you. But living there forever is an excuse that keeps you from your power. Victim mentality feels safe because it takes responsibility off you. It lets you say, it's not my fault. And maybe it isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility to decide what happens next. You can't control the hurt, but you can control the healing. The longer you hold on to victimhood, the more it chains you to the past. Excuses will keep you reliving the pain instead of rewriting your story. They convince you that your future is already ruined when in reality it hasn't even started yet. Plenty of people have faced unfairness far greater than yours and still rose above it. They didn't let excuses hold them hostage. They turned the pain into purpose, the setback into a setup, the test into testimony. Excuses built from pain are tricky because they feel justified. But justified excuses are still excuses. They might explain where you are, but they don't have to define where you go. You can either keep replaying what was done to you, or you can decide to create something better in spite of it. But you can't do both. The victim story and the victory story can't live in the same mouth. Killing the victim mentality doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It means deciding that what happened won't control the rest of your life. It means choosing strength over excuses. You can't rewrite the past, but you can rewrite your response, and that's where freedom begins. Excuses and discipline are in constant battle. Excuses say, sleep in. Discipline says, get up anyway. Excuses say, skip today. Discipline says, do it regardless. Excuses are easy, discipline is hard, but discipline always wins in the long run. Excuses are loud in the moment, but discipline is quiet and consistent. Excuses make you feel good right now, but discipline makes you proud later. If you want change, you have to let discipline speak louder than your excuses. Most people don't fail because they're not talented. They fail because they listen to excuses more than they practice discipline. Discipline is the difference between potential and progress. The truth is, you don't need motivation every day. You need discipline. Motivation comes and goes. Some mornings you won't feel like it. That's when excuses try to take over. But discipline doesn't care about feelings. It cares about commitment. Discipline is the muscle that grows when you choose it over excuses. Every time you say no to an excuse and yes to action, you strengthen it. And the stronger it gets, the quieter excuses become. Excuses will always be there. They'll always try to pull you back. But discipline is your weapon. It cuts through the easy. It pushes you forward. It builds habits that excuses can't touch. The person you want to become is waiting on the other side of consistent discipline. Not sometimes, not when it's easy, but every day, even when it hurts. Kill the excuses with discipline and watch how your life starts shifting. Opportunities don't knock forever. They don't sit outside your door waiting for you to stop making excuses. They move on. They go to the next person who's ready, the one who didn't talk themselves out of it. Excuses kill opportunities faster than failure ever will. You think you're protecting yourself by waiting, by hesitating, by holding back. But what you're really doing is letting your chance slip away. Excuses are like thieves that steal moments you'll never get back. The world doesn't stop for your excuses. The job won't wait. The connection won't wait. The idea won't wait. If you don't act, somebody else will. And when they do, you'll be watching what could have been yours. The sad part is, most opportunities don't come back. Once they're gone, they're gone. Excuses don't care. They'll still be there tomorrow, but the chance you missed may never show up again. You can't keep saying, I'll do it next time. Next time isn't guaranteed. Every moment you waste excusing is a moment somebody else is executing. And execution beats explanation every single time. Opportunities are fragile. They require courage, not comfort. They demand speed, not hesitation. Excuses make you slow down, think twice, talk yourself out of it. By the time you're done explaining, the moment has passed. Every excuse you make costs you something. It costs you progress, it costs you growth, it costs you opportunity, and those costs add up. That's how people wake up years later full of regret. Excuses don't just hold you back, they hand your blessing to somebody else. Excuses are what separate average from exceptional. Average people explain. Exceptional people execute. Average people say, I would if I could. Exceptional people say, I'll find a way. The only difference is mindset. If you want to live an average life, keep making excuses. They'll keep you comfortable, they'll keep you safe, they'll keep you the same. But if you want more purpose, more impact, more success, you have to kill the excuses and choose action. Average is crowded. It's where everybody lives. That's why excuses are so easy to make, because most people around you are making them too. But if you want to stand out, you can't do what everyone else is doing. Excuses make you blend in. They make you normal, predictable, forgettable. Action makes you memorable. Consistency makes you exception. Results make you stand apart. It doesn't take talent to be average. It doesn't take courage to be average. It doesn't take discipline to be average. Excuses are enough to keep you there. But if you want greatness, you've got to demand more of yourself. Excuses sound safe, but they're dangerous. They trap you in a cycle of mediocrity. They rob you of the chance to discover just how much potential you really have. Exceptional people don't have fewer obstacles. They just make fewer excuses. They use what they have, they push through, they figure it out. That's why they're rare. If you're tired of being average, stop feeding excuses, because average and excuses always travel together. The day you make a real decision, excuses lose their power. Decision is stronger than doubt, stronger than fear, stronger than hesitation. It's not about conditions being right, it's about your mind being made up. Excuses survive in indecision. They thrive when you're halfway in, halfway out. But when you fully decide, excuses can't compete. Decision kills them on the spot. Most people don't lack resources, they lack resolve. They say they want it, but they haven't really decided. That's why excuses still run the show. A true decision means no turning back, no plan B, no room for excuses. When you decide, your actions align, your time shifts, your energy shifts, your priorities shift. Excuses lose their grip because you no longer give them space. Decision is power. It's the moment you say, I don't care how long it takes, how hard it gets, how many times I fall, I'm doing this. That's when excuses start to die. The truth is, success doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect. It waits for you to commit. Excuses say, wait for the right time. Decision says,